It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict. Today we're talking about the Arizona Burn Foundation, AZ Burn Foundation. A lot of great things that they do. They have Camp Courage coming up for burn victims June 5th through the 11th. And here to talk about the foundation and Camp Courage is Brady Casson and Jeff Boyd. They're both fire lieutenants and paramedics with the Cottonwood Fire and Medical Department, as well as Camp Courage counselors. Thanks for being in here today, guys.
Absolutely.
So a lot of great stuff, a good website. We're going to touch on as much as we can here in the show, but a great website, azburn.org. They have all sorts of great information on there. Also, how to donate. We'll get on touch about on that a little bit later in the show. But azburn.org. So first off, Brady, tell me about the Arizona Burn Foundation and what it is exactly that they do. I mean, it's much more than just support. There's a lot of stuff.
Absolutely. They're primarily an education and outreach program, and what they do is they deal with the physical and emotional damage associated with burns, whether they're accidental or intentional. And they work on outreach as far as education, scald prevention, and trying to get the word out as how to avoid burn injuries. But then they also support families and victims financially and emotionally in the event that there is a burn. Some of the things that they work on are providing meal vouchers and housing for people as either they or their family members go through treatments at the burn centers. Down in Phoenix, the Maricopa Hospital is one of the best burn centers, and these treatments take a long time, so sometimes families are away from work and down staying in hospitals for extended periods, so they can help offset financially some of the burdens there. They also provide scholarships for higher education. They teach a program called Miss Hot Pots, which is an outreach for younger children to teach them to stay away from the stove and prevent one of the common burns, which is a kid reaching up and pulling down hot water or hot soup or something onto themselves. They also send kids to Camp Courage, which I know we'll talk about a little bit more, and they have smoke detector installation events, because smoke detectors are great early detection to get people out of building fires before burn injuries happen. And then they also have holiday programs, so they reach out to some of these kids because they may not have the finances with the costs associated with treatment for holiday gifts, so they outreach so the kids can feel like they're still getting their Christmases and their holidays.
Great. Yeah, just a ton of stuff that they do over there. Jeff, how did you kind of get involved with the AZ Burn Foundation and Camp Courage?
Well, I got involved about 10 years ago, and my captain at the time, Tim Wills, actually came to me and told me about the program. I wasn't aware of the program, or even AZ Burn for that matter. But I went my first year. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. It's a great event to be involved in, and I'll be going as long as they let me.
Yeah. Now, when we're talking about burn victims, anytime you have a victim of a traumatic event, it's traumatizing,
Correct.
if you will. But what is it about burn victims that is different from other victims who suffered traumatic injuries?
Well, the biggest difference is, a traumatic injury in any case is horrific for a family, but say a broken leg or broken arm, those things heal and then you go on with life. With a burn victim, depending on their severity of the burn, it's a lifelong healing process, especially for younger kids. When they get burned and the scar tissue is healed, you get the initial healing of that, then you get the scar tissue, but as their body is growing, the scar tissue doesn't grow with their body, so then they have to go back for more surgeries to loosen up that skin so they can grow into it again. So it's a constant healing process, where a regular traumatic injury, once the bone's healed or the cut is healed, you're pretty much done.
Yeah, and on top of that, you have this emotional aspect of it, right, Brady? What is it when you're actually dealing with these victims? And the AZ Burn Foundation doesn't just focus on children, adults as well. But how do you go about dealing with these victims and helping them out and just conversing with them when they have that? What are some of the mental challenges that they have going on with that.
Yeah, one of the hardest parts, especially for the children, is, growing up is tough anyways, and but when you have these scars, they're permanent, and they can also be disfiguring. And so you have kids trying to grow up in a normal life, and they're identified by their scars. It's, oh, that's the kid with the scars. What's nice about burn camp is everybody's on the same playing field. One of the guys who's up in management with the camp, who started out as a counselor, that's how he described it, and I love the way he did, is that it levels the playing field. Everybody there has gone through similar events. Everybody there has the scars, and so they're free to just be kids. And so the big push is to teach children that they're more than their scars, and they can overcome that. And while that's a part of their life that they're living with forever, that's okay. It doesn't mean they can't be normal kids. It doesn't mean that their dreams can't be obtained. It doesn't mean that they can't be who they want to be and who they were meant to be. It just means that they have to kind of learn to overcome that, like anybody would with a disability or any problems like that. But that's if you break your arm and you have a small scar, it's a little bit different than if you have scars up your neck and up your face and over a majority of your body, especially growing up where anything different is kind of, I don't want to say attacked, but identified by other children, which can make it a little bit difficult for them.
And when you're talking about, what are the age of the kids that are at the Camp Courage?
The campers are anywhere from 6 to 15.
Okay.
I believe sometimes we've had maybe a little bit younger and a little older on some special circumstances, and so that really covers a wide age range, which it actually works out really nice too for some of the younger campers to see older campers, the teenagers that they look up to as basically adult figures to them, who are burn survivors, who have been at the camp for a number of years. And we find out that a lot of the kids actually will attach to some of these older campers, even more so than some of the counselors, because they feel they can really connect with them and they've been through similar circumstances. And then after that, after they get older, or after they're older than 15, we have a leadership and training program, which basically takes them from the camper role, and if they're interested in being a counselor down the road, it's a learning period where they learn stuff about leadership, they learn things about how to work with kids, and they go through this program and they will shadow current camp counselors in hopes that eventually they can become camp counselors and then return the favor and work with the next generation of survivors. Great.
So those leadership and training, those people, they work with you guys as counselors?
Yes, we are teamed up.
Okay.
It's normally the max cabin you'll have is 4 kids, and there's usually a counselor, a co-counselor, and then they do team up a leadership and training candidate with that. They do breakout sessions where they go away and they'll do leadership classes, but they do come back, and then that kind of gives them the responsibility too when they're back with us. Hey, you take care of the kids today. So it kind of breaks them in slowly to the responsibility aspect of, hey, I've got 4 kids I've got to watch after.
Yeah, and it's got to be just great for the campers, the fact that they have somebody who's been through a similar situation and had to deal with similar things and gone through this camp. I mean, it's got to really just help them feel a little bit more comfortable right when camp starts to
I
see
think
somebody go through
that's
that.
the big key in the camp is, like Brady said, having the kids, it's a leveling playing field, and they feel more at ease when they get to camp. At first they're always nervous, especially if it's their first year or so, but once they get there and realize that everybody's going through similar situations, and they can talk to them and share stories.
Great. Well, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Camp Courage, again, going on June 5th through the 11th in Prescott. We'll talk about what exactly campers will be doing there, touch on the counselors a little bit more, but for more information, azburn.org. This is Countywide. We'll be back in a couple minutes.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs. And it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Me and my boy Matt had it good. He had catnip that was off the hook. But one day, he brings a girl home, and she's allergic to cats. Every sneeze was a nail in my coffin. Now I'm in a shelter. It's decent, but they don't even have Wi-Fi.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. You're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Yeah, I saw that coming. That will throw you off track. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, sitting down with two fire lieutenants and paramedics from the Cottonwood Fire Medical Department, Brady Casson and Jeff Boyd. We're talking about the AZ Burn Foundation and specifically Camp Courage, which is going on June 5th through the 11th over in Prescott. Where exactly is that at over there?
I believe it's called Prescott Pines or Pine Summit. Okay. It's at the very end of Senators Highway in Prescott. There's a lot of camps through there with Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts.
Okay. And Brady and Jeff are also camp counselors over there at Camp Courage. So first off, selection process. Is this kind of just an application type of deal, and how much does it cost the families?
It is an application process. It doesn't cost the family anything. I believe they get referrals from Maricopa Burn Center to the foundation, and the foundation contacts those families to see if they're interested. But it doesn't cost the family a dime. All of it's through donations, and that includes flights. You know, we've flown people in from Canada, Mexico, to go to the burn camp. And the camp itself, or Camp Courage, is not unique to Arizona. There are other states that have camps that are similar to this as well, and they run basically the same way.
Oh, okay. And Brady, if you could maybe talk about a quick rundown of the camp and kind of what it is that these campers go through, just starting with arrival. Where does it kind of go from there?
Starting with arrival, they get off the buses. We have a big celebration from when they arrive, and we get them all squared away with their name tags and some equipment that we give them. And then they break up into their cabins almost immediately. So we'll have 2 counselors, up to 4 kids, and then if there's enough, an LIT with you. And all the cabins are themed. This year, the whole camp is themed after it's a space camp, and then each individual cabin will come up with their own kind of sub-theme of that. So Jeff's group's the Guardians of the Galaxy this year, and then my group, we're the Men in Black. So we've got tuxedo shirts and sunglasses and stuff. But we break down, and then actually in a lot of ways it's a lot like a regular summer camp. We have activities with horses where they get to groom and ride and hang out with some horses. We have an amazing ropes team that goes and sets up these awesome ropes courses, zip lines, all this cool stuff, and they set it up and take it down every single year. They are top notch. There's a pool and there's a water day, and so we will break up, and then each day you get sent to arts and crafts and horses, and they have a little schedule for you that you go around. And then in the evenings, they'll have a big total camp event, and they have movie nights and dance parties and carnivals. Some of the older kids get to do kind of an off-site camping trip and an off-site rappel during the week. And so a lot of the same activities that any kid would have at a summer camp, with the idea being that, hey, these are just normal kids. Yeah. You know, they may have some scars, but they are normal kids who want to do normal kid things, and they want to play with horses, they want to go on ropes courses, they want to do ride bikes and some of those things.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, we talked about it in the first segment a little bit, but the age group that these kids are, I mean, they're, you just look at some of the issues that every child, say 6 to 15 or 16, face. I mean, just going through adolescence and just growing up. I mean, there's a lot of those issues. So the fact that there's a place for these burn victims to go and just be surrounded with people who they can just feel comfortable with has to be great. And it has to be really rewarding for you guys to see this year in and year out. I mean, are you guys seeing a lot of the same campers?
There are a lot of the same campers. And in fact, some of the campers that, when I first started, and this will be my 9th year as a counselor, I missed 1 year. But my very first year, one of my campers is now a counselor. So they continue year after year, and it's a big family. I mean, when we get back, and I'm sure Brady feels the same way, when the kids get off the bus, it's like seeing a relative you haven't seen in a year, and hugs all around. And
yeah, that's great. That's great. So now, you guys are counselors. We've talked about the leadership and training program where you have people who have gone through the camp and then are also in this program to maybe become counselors in the future. Right. What other type of people do you guys have out there that are counselors? Are they all firefighters?
No,
okay.
There's the gamut. I mean, a majority of the counselors are firefighters. We do have, like we talked earlier, if there was a camp that you could get hurt at, it would be that one, because everybody's either a paramedic or a nurse or a doctor. But Maricopa Burn Center sends up their nurses from the burn center. So there's at least 3 to 4 of them on duty all the time. The doctor comes up a few days out of the week. Dispatchers, there are dispatchers that are counselors. It's the gamut. I mean,
now could somebody, just a normal civilian or nobody who has medical training or any of that, can they apply to become a counselor?
They can.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they can. Okay. In fact, even though that we're paramedics, that's not our job when we're there. We're there just to make sure the kids are having fun. That's what the nurses are there for. In fact, some of the kids, the first day, like, we'll arrive Saturday, but the kids won't get there on Sunday. We get informational cards on the kids that, hey, this one may need to have medications this day, or may have to have dressing changes this day. And even though that's stuff we could do, that's not our main focus. So we take them to the nurses station, and that's why the nurses are there to take care of that stuff.
Okay. And we mentioned that this is free for the campers and their families. And that's because of donations throughout the year. Brady, can you talk about some of the donation opportunities? And again, to donate, or just for more information, azburn.org, or you can also call 602-230-2041. But what are some of those donation opportunities?
They actually, on their website, they'll have a list showing some of the different things and the dollar amounts. And some of them, the Miss Hot Pots thing that I talked about, a certain donation will provide the means to send the people out to teach that class. Meal vouchers for up to a month for some of these families and victims as they're, have extended stays at the hospital. They also have, it's called the Forever Courage House, which provides the temporary lodging and assistance, financial assistance for families whose loved ones are undergoing that long-term treatment. Let's see, and the donations continue on, and it tells you exactly how much if you want to sponsor one child going to camp, or one of the smoke detector installation events where they go to kind of a lower income community and install smoke detectors, brand new nice ones, so that if they're in the event of a house fire, they can escape before they receive any injuries. And then they also have a holiday party where people will donate, because they bring in the campers and the families and give out some Christmas presents, and they get to have a nice meal, and it's just a great way to kind of enjoy the holidays all together. And they also have a tree festival where local fire departments and businesses and groups will decorate these amazing, lavish Christmas trees, and we'll pair them with other items like vacations or meals or all these different little things. And then they have a large ball where everyone comes together and they can bid on these trees, and it's a huge fundraiser for the camp. And then all that money in turn goes back into all these other events that we've been talking about.
Great. So there's stuff throughout the year, and again, more information on the website there. And I mean, we touched on it at the beginning of the show. We're talking about Camp Courage just because that's kind of going on June 5th through 11th. But they have crisis support. They have family support for families of burn victims. I mean, just all sorts of great things that the AZ Burn Foundation is part of, and just stuff that they're doing throughout the year. So azburn.org for more information on that. We have to take our second break. Countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education, what are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else? Or will you dare do something different? Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills.
The smarts?
Yes, you. You could be the teacher I never forget.
That would be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
girls, not a big deal. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
My name's Eddie Metcalf. I enjoy working in my yard. And, I can't do that anymore because I'm missing most of my lung. They did a CAT scan of my kidneys. No more kidney stones, that's the good news, but we found a spot on your lung. That frankly scared the hell out of me. I hadn't smoked in 22 years. How could this happen to me? He said, well, you know about radon gas. Well, I heard about it. He said, well, the second leading cause of cancer in America is radon. 22,000 people a year die from this. I literally left the doctor's office, got a test kit, put it in the house, and our result was 39.8. The upper limit is 4. We got to get this fixed. That was on a Monday, and on Wednesday, our mitigation system was up and running. Well, I think everybody should have their house tested. We'd never known we'd still be living there. I could get another tumor from it. But right now, it's changing my life.
Welcome back to Countywide. I'm Kyle Benedict, sitting down with Cottonwood Fire Lieutenant and paramedics Brady Casson and Jeff Boyd. They're also Camp Courage counselors. We're talking about the AZ Burn Foundation Camp Courage taking place in Prescott June 5th through the 11th this year. All spots are filled for this year, but it's an annual event that they hold. And again, we've been talking about donation opportunities. The entire AZ Burn Foundation run off of donations. You can go to azburn.org to just donate or for more information on this. During the break, we were talking about some of the groups that show support year in and year out. Jeff, can you talk about some of those groups?
Yeah, two of the main groups that I see is one is Forever Living, and I think they're a nationwide organization, but they donate money and products to the camp. Normally, campers get 2 T-shirts every year that just says Camp Courage or whatever the theme is for that year. Those are all donated by the organization. We also fill backpacks that are given to the kids at the end of camp. So each kid gets a backpack, and inside that is Forever Living products such as lotions, hair gel or shampoo and conditioner and all that stuff. One of the other large organizations that's a local organization is Wind and Fire. They're a large motorcycle group that do poker runs and different runs throughout the year to raise money. And one day during the week of camp, a large group of them actually come riding into camp, which is exciting for the kids to see all the motorcycles. And they actually come and present a check to the Burn Foundation for the money that they've raised throughout the year. And then they have a barbecue for their riders and then a small gift for the kids as they go in that day too.
That's got to be a cool sight, seeing all those motorcycles roll up into camp.
Yeah.
So now, real quick, Brady, throughout the year, other than camp, what is it that you guys are doing? I mean, to kind of get ready for camp?
So we end up, we kind of stay in contact throughout the year, coming up with themes and coming up with ideas. We usually have an after camp get together just to kind of talk about what went well, where we can make some improvements, and they're constantly making little tweaks to just try to make a better experience for the kids. And then we have some training before the camp, all the safety training and counselor training that you need to go through to be at a summer camp like that. And then just depending on your availability, they have the smoke detector events and the Christmas tree events and Christmas gift wrapping and all these different things throughout the year. And it's really, I mean, it's a nonstop process because these, survivors need the support all year.
Yeah.
And so it's as much time as you have, you can be involved. It's great.
Well, that's awesome. You guys mentioned you guys have been doing this for years and it keeps bringing you back. So that's going to do it for today. Thanks again, guys, and have fun out there.
Thank you. We will.
Camp Courage with the AZ Burn Foundation, June 5th through the 11th. Again, run on donations. For more information, azburn.org or 602-230-2041. That's going to do it for Countywide today. We'll see you next time.